All right, today we're diving into something that, honestly, sounds kind of impossible. We're talking about building a real-time chat app, but get this, with absolutely no database. How on earth does that work? Well, let's find out.
No, seriously, just pause and think about that. If you're a developer, you know the database is, well, it's the heart of a chat app, right? It's where all the users, all the messages, everything lives. So what if we could just toss that whole thing out the window? That's the wild idea we're digging into today.
Okay, so before we can really appreciate just how cool this new approach is, we have to talk about the old way of doing things. You could almost call it the traditional chat trap. You know the drill. If you're building a chat app the old-fashioned way, you're signing up for a whole lot of back-end complexity. You've got your database, something like Postgres or MongoDB, to actually store the messages. Then you need an authentication server to handle who's who, and you need a WebSocket layer for that instant back-and-forth communication. It's a lot, it's heavy, it's complicated, and guess who's responsible for making it all work? You are. And when you put them side by side, the difference is just stark. The old way? It's all about that heavy back end where the company basically controls everything. It's a classic walled garden. But this new way? It's promising a super lightweight interface where the user actually owns their data. And for developers, that makes things a whole lot simpler to build.
So right, how do we actually escape that trap? Well, that brings us to what the source material calls a sovereign new way. And that word sovereign is really the key here. It means the user is finally in charge. And here it is, the absolute core of the whole idea. This is a total paradigm shift. The solution is to use this protocol called Universal Integrated Identity, or UIID. And what it does is it treats the user's own digital identity as the database. Think about that. Their identity becomes the one-stop shop, the container for their data, their authentication, their context, everything.
Okay, that sounds fantastic in theory, right? But how does it actually work? Well, it all comes down to three key pillars. Let's break them down one by one. So pillar number one is identity. Look, instead of you having to build your own login system, manage passwords, deal with all that security headache, you just use UID's OpenID Connect. It's like a digital passport. The user proves who they are with their UID, and your app just gets a thumbs up token. You never see or store a password. It's totally hands-off.
Next up, pillar two, storage. And oh man, this is where the real magic happens. So messages are not saved on your server at all. Instead, they get saved directly into the user's personal key value store, which is just part of their UUID. The best way to think about it is like a personal data backpack that they carry with them everywhere. They own the messages. They control the data, not you.
And just look at how simple this makes things for a developer. Forget writing complex SQL queries or database inserts. To add a new message to a chat room, you just send this one simple patch request. It uses dot notation to drop the message right where it needs to go in that user's data backpack. It is just incredibly elegant.
Okay, but wait a second. If the data is living in the user's personal backpack, how does your app even know when a new message shows up? That's pillar three, sync. Instead of keeping a constant, expensive WebSocket connection open, you use webhooks. You basically just tell the UID system, hey, ping my app anytime this user's data changes. So you get that real-time feel without the cost and complexity of an always-on server.
All right, so we've seen the how, and it's pretty darn clever. But now let's get to the why. Why does this whole architectural shift even matter? Well, this is where it really changes the game. I mean, the benefits here are huge. For one, you get zero trust security because you're not handling passwords. The user gets true data ownership. They can literally delete their entire chat history with a single API call if they want. You can even wipe out bot spam by requiring users to have a certain Know Your Customer or KYC verification. And of course, the big one for developers, no more database management.
And that, right there, is the punchline. The number of databases you have to set up, scale, secure, and patch in this new model, it's a big, beautiful zero. All of that operational headache, it just vanishes.
And for those of you who are a bit more technical, this table is just a fantastic summary. You can see exactly how each piece of the puzzle, authentication, storage, sync, maps directly to a clean, simple API endpoint. It's not just a cool idea, it's a complete, well-defined protocol for building these kinds of sovereign apps. Okay, let's zoom out for a second as we wrap up. Because this is about so much more than just a clever way to build a chat app. It's a fundamental shift in philosophy. It's about your data, your rules.
There's a quote from the source material that just nails it. Your application serves merely as a sovereign interface for their digital existence. Think about what that means. Your app stops being this big data silo, this walled garden, and instead it just becomes a tool, a simple interface that the user picks up to interact with their own data. The user is suddenly at the center of their own digital universe.
And that really leaves us with a final, massive question to chew on. If this model proves that your private conversations can truly belong to you, controlled by you, what else should? What about your social media profile, your professional network, your health records? This isn't just about a new way to write code. This could be the blueprint for a whole new, more user-centric internet.